Schopenhauer and Freedom by John Vespasian. The idea of freedom in Arthur Schopenhauer, 1788 to 1860, is linked to his philosophy of the will. He outlined his concept of the will in his major works, About the Fourfold Root of the Principle of Sufficient Reason, 1808, and The World as Will and Representation, 1818. According to Schopenhauer, the will, which I translate as life force, is the underlying force driving all human actions, goals, and desires. Schopenhauer defined the will as an insatiable and irrational force that drives human beings towards reproduction and other goals such as success, fame, and wealth accumulation. From this perspective, individual freedom is influenced by the relentless demands of the will. Humans are pushed to seek the satisfaction of endless desires, leading to inevitable failure and frustration. Happiness and Schopenhauer's views on freedom. Nonetheless, individuals aren't defenseless against the will. In his later work, Parerga and Paralipomena, 1851, he gives advice about enhancing one's freedom and steering away from stress, failure, and frustration. On the one hand, Schopenhauer recommends a certain level of asceticism because it helps individuals break out of endless desires that are impossible to satisfy. Schopenhauer praises self-discipline and contemplation. His books argue that Buddhism, Hinduism, and Christianity regard self-discipline and contemplation positively. Those have proven their liberating effect countless times. In addition, Schopenhauer advises his readers to engage in aesthetic experiences such as music. Art can help us forget the constant pressure of the will and societal demands. Through artistic contemplation, individuals can escape the relentless pressure of the will. Art can lead to a state of higher perception, where the will is rendered temporarily inert. In Aphorisms on the Art of Living, 1851, Schopenhauer is giving solid advice for enhancing one's happiness and reducing suffering. Schopenhauer recommends avoiding oversized risks and keeping one's goals and projects reasonable. That's the best way to enhance individual freedom and achievement. Schopenhauer's views on freedom compared to Leibniz's. Schopenhauer's views on freedom constitute a step forward when compared with the views of Gottfried Wilhelm Leibniz, 1646 to 1716. Leibniz had subordinated individual freedom to a cosmic view of pre-established harmony. According to Leibniz, all sentient creatures are driven by a sense of pre-established harmony, that is, driven by God-given plans. The actions of all creatures may seem random or chaotic, but they fall within a divine plan that makes our world the best of all possible worlds. Leibniz's perspective on freedom is deeply unrealistic. When he speaks of the inner freedom of sentient creatures, which he calls monads, he is contracting his ideals of predetermined harmony. It is obvious that we do not live in the best of all possible worlds and that individuals make all sorts of mistakes. There is no predetermined harmony in the world. Leibniz argues that a secret divine plan is running the world, but fails to provide any evidence. If Leibniz was right about his predetermined harmony, then there is no individual freedom. And if he was wrong, then his concept of the best possible world does not make any sense. Schopenhauer's understanding of personal freedom is vastly superior to Leibniz's. The claim that a pre-existing divine plan is ensuring harmony in the world cannot withstand close examination. Schopenhauer's philosophy of freedom is based on reality. It rests on the observation of tangible facts. In contrast, Leibniz's theory seems delusional. If you look around, you should quickly figure out that we are not living in a harmonic cosmos where each individual is playing a predetermined role. Schopenhauer's views on freedom compared to Nietzsche's. In the generation after Schopenhauer, Friedrich Nietzsche, 1844 to 1900, put forward a freedom concept that challenges traditional values. Nietzsche regarded freedom as a dynamic, ever-changing force linked to the will to power. According to Nietzsche, the will to power is the essential force underlying human actions and obliterating the traditional definitions of good and evil. Freedom is just the way in which individuals assert their dominance impulses. In Nietzsche's works, Beyond Good and Evil, 1886, and Genealogy of Morals, 1887, traditional concepts of freedom are presented as mere illusions. Nietzsche goes as far as calling them slave morality. Schopenhauer had sustained that well-chosen moral values help enhance happiness and minimize suffering. But Nietzsche rejected any universal, objective moral code. Nietzsche called moral values tools used by the weak to suppress the strong. Nietzsche proposes a master morality instead of a slave morality, where individuals define their own values. Those are just tools in the pursuit of power, argued Nietzsche. Validity of Schopenhauer's views on freedom. Schopenhauer's view of freedom is objective and balanced. It acknowledges the influence of the will, life force, but is not condemning individuals to defeat. Schopenhauer gives us solid advice about how to make the best of freedom and enjoy life to the maximum. In contrast, Nietzsche's view of freedom is primitive, savage, and exploitative. He invented the concept of Übermensch to define persons who reject conventional morality and embrace their own values. But those values are subjective. They lead to constant conflict that renders civilization unworkable. Schopenhauer's idea of freedom is reasonable and realistic. In terms of happiness, it remains far above the chaotic, short-sighted, conflict-prone Übermensch invented by Nietzsche. By employing reason and foresight, you can make the best of your freedom. Happiness needs to be built and sustained by making good choices day after day. The pursuit of power is not going to make you happy. Leibniz was delusional about his harmonious world. He did not understand the concept of personal freedom. Nietzsche was wrong in recommending subjectivity and Schopenhauer right in his balanced views about freedom. If you want to apply rational ideas to your life day after day, I recommend my book, Sequentiality. The amazing power of finding the right sequence of steps. For more information, go to johnvespasian.com.